don't take me after I take my hair down.
We'll wait.
Take this is the way
Fish,
we
we had soup, and Grandma made handmade styrofoam plates.
Right.
And all the sauces and everything, and bread, and fresh vegetables. And
Oh yeah.
here's
I'll
the...
take my hair down after.
No, we won't take you, we'll do you later. There's the strawberries,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
this stuff, and that's it. Okay, so see that red light?
Yeah.
That means we're being taped.
It's going now.
Yeah, so you say...
Yes. Hi.
So this is Grandma,
Yeah.
and we're
See?
gonna make a tape.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Say hi, Jerry. That's the. That's good.
Okay.
Say buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Uh-huh.
Buongiorno.
Yeah.
Buongiorno. Hola en español.
Hola. Yeah. That's it. Anyway.
Buenos dias. En
Huh?
español.
Mm-hmm. Buongiorno.
Is giorno dio, space, day?
Giorno day.
Is that day?
Yeah.
So
Giorno.
that's the same as buenos dias.
Yeah. Buon in Italian and dia day. Giorno is
Day.
day. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So maybe where you're from? Where in Italy you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Italy. See, I was born there. The whole family was born there, really. And we came here in 1930.
Where in Italy?
In Italy, it was in Toscana, and Lucca was the city close to us. And then the town that we were from actually is, maybe 20 minutes away from Lucca is Lamari. Lamari is the town, the country, the little town. And Lucca is the closest city.
So you are from
Lamari.
You're from Lombardy.
Yeah, but you usually say Lucca because nobody knows
No,
Lamari.
no.
See, Lucca, even that is not popular,
Right.
but it's still, tourists still go there.
And
It's known more.
Lucca's in northern Italy.
In northern Italy, right, close to Florence, Pisa. Yeah, and then we came here in 1930 in the United States. And I'm sure glad we came here, although I loved it over there. It was really nice when we were there. Let's see, I was already about 16 when I came here, but my sisters were younger. Most of them were younger. In fact, one brother was only 4 years. The youngest one was 4 years old. And my mother took us to the United States.
Which one was
that? One that is, no, the one he's gone, he's dead.
Oh.
He's gone now. He was in Chicago. Well, they're all in Chicago, actually, the whole family. I'm the only one that came out here to California because I want to get away from the snow.
Oh, is that why it was?
Oh, yeah, sure. It was hard to go to work every morning in the snow, And so I came out here after I got married. My husband, or grandpa also, wanted to get away from. In fact, he's the one that started the whole thing.
To get away
He
from
wanted to come to California, so we're stuck, out here now.
California.
And I wouldn't go back anyway.
Was it hard when you first got here from Italy, as far as because that was the Depression in the 1930s?
It was in the Depression when we came. It was pretty hard, and then most of them were young. They were going to school, and I was the only one, and the older brother than I was. The two of us only that went to work, and we only made very little.
Right.
So it was hard after the first few years. See, in Italy we had, I should say, everything, but not, we had almost everything, not luxury, but we had food and living and
The
country.
house.
We grew a lot of stuff, Yeah, it was different, but at the same time, I was glad that we came out here still. And
Do you remember what the reason was you came out here at the time? What reason you came out here at the time? Was
my
it
mother-
politics?
And my mother always wanted to go to the United States
Oh.
because my dad was in the United States when he was single, and he got citizenship papers before he went back to Italy, and he figured that he'd get married and have family and then bring everybody to the United States again. He always wanted to come back to the United States. And my mother always heard that, he always promised her to take her to America, and she never forgot it. And even 25 years later, she still wanted to come, she still wanted to come to the United States.
See, now that would be quite a trip for him to go to, because they went by boat, right?
Yeah, well, he went back and forth by boat then,
Because
when
that
he
was
did.
before
It
even
was
planes.
in the 1800 when he did it, you know. Yeah. And, but he made money, see, and then he went to Italy, and that's when he got married, and after he figured that when he has a family, or whenever he felt like it, he would take and come to the United States again with the family then. So my mother never forgot it. She had it in her head. And although then they tried to make the papers and get started about coming, my dad was up in years and he started getting strokes and he was sick. And the doctor said that they better not make the trip because he would never make it. But my mother kept, the thing open so that as soon as he would get better, then they would take and come. But it never happened because he got worse and then he passed away. In the same year, he passed away the first part of the year, and toward the last of the year, we came to the United States because my brother, the older one than I was, he would have been over the age that he wouldn't be able to come anymore. Once he was 18, he'd have to stay in Italy.
Why is that?
Because Mussolini wanted, when they're 18, they have to go in the
Army.
service. Yeah. And 3 brothers had to stay there because they did the service in the United States, in Italy.
Now, was this during the war?
No, this was before.
Before the war.
Before, but Mussolini, after they're in the service, they want him to stay there. They won't let them out of the country. And this brother, Charlie, Uncle Charlie,
Right.
yeah, he's the one that was 17, and he was going to be 18 in January the next year. So we came in September, see? Barely made it. Because they figure if I was the oldest one, I'd be the only one working, and there was about 5 after me, and I couldn't support them all, by myself. And they didn't even know that I could find work, see?
Right.
They didn't realize that I did, although I did get work. I got work right away, but it still makes so little, but we managed between the 2 of us. We managed, and that's it. Then things got a little better after we get out here and we learn the language and things got a little bit better then. But it takes time.
How much were wages back then?
I made $9 a week, including Saturday.
6 days a week, and you got $9.
Yeah, I don't know what he made. It was very little too. Yeah, and then I made. I changed work. I worked downtown in Chicago. It's still in sewing, and I think I was making $12. Boy, that was a big improvement.
Big raise.
Oh, that was a lot of
Living
money.
the high life, man.
Oh. But then I had to pay 7 cents car fare, back in 14 cents a day for the.
And you're making
to
$12
go
a
back.
week. That adds
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I guess they pay for the fare. So the other place I used to walk there. It was far too. Boy, I don't know how I did it. But anyway, we made it. And so I enjoyed. I love to be here anyway. I'm glad that we came to the United States. And then many years after, when I was married, then I took a trip back to Italy, and I saw places that I'd never even seen before because I didn't travel then. I was young, and we didn't go places over there. We just stayed in our little town or go to the city. That's about all. So we had a real nice trip there. One trip, we stayed I think 2 weeks, and we enjoyed it. We rented a car, and Grandpa went around, drove all over up and down the coast in Italy. And then he said, all I did is drive, and I didn't see much of it. So he says, we'll have to come back again, but we'll do it different. Maybe we'll come with somebody else, or they take you around on the bus, see? And he took, and we did that. A few years later, I forget the years, but I did the second trip, we took it since we were here. So it might be about 8 years ago. But the first one was longer than that. We were down in St. Gabriel then. And so we took the second trip, and they used to take us every morning on the bus, and we traveled different spots of Italy, different places, and we seen quite a bit. But Grandpa used to he was taking medicine at the time, he used to take pills for the heart and things. And when he get on the bus, as soon as the bus started going, he fall asleep. So he never saw anything. Even that, and every time when we get off the bus, it says, "You see in Italy sleeping on the bus."
Right.
It was funny. He used to think it was funny. But anyway, I seen him a lot. I was glad that I went on those trips. It was fun. And then he always wanted to go traveling. Other places, and we went to Hawaii quite a bit, a few times, and he loved that. He always wanted to go back to Hawaii. He wanted to go to, we went to Tahiti.
Right.
Yeah, we took that trip there, and we were glad we did that. I don't think we would have went back again, but Hawaii we could have always go back, because it was an easy trip to go to. And so then he was too sick to go anyplace else after a while, so we didn't do it anymore, that's all.
Back in Italy, do you remember anything about, I know your grandma was the one that you were with a lot when you were young, your grandma?
Yeah.
You were with her a lot when you were young?
Oh yeah, she lived with us. It actually was her place, her house. It's a big farmhouse, and so my mother was the only child. So then they stayed there because she had so many kids. I mean, there's quite a few of us in the family, and she was a big helper. She was, oh my gosh, really helped a lot with the family.
So she had only had one child.
She had two girls, but one died when she was little.
Oh.
So my mother was the only one.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
Grandpa had died. He came to America, but he died in America. They got news that he died, but I don't remember what it was, whether he was sick or whether something happened. And they never heard anything more about it. I never even knew Grandpa.
Do you know what his name was?
I don't even remember that. I don't know.
How about his last name?
Even my brother didn't remember. I asked him. He says he didn't know. Because all we knew was Grandma, we always knew Grandma, like if there was no Grandpa, but we should have asked really more information about it.
Do you know what his last name was? His last name?
Well, it's the same as my grandma was Quilici.
How do you spell that?
Quilici. Quilici. And then my mother was Quilici, and then she married a Mugnani.
Mugnani?
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And did Grandma live in
the same place. Yeah, we lived in the same house.
Had she lived in Italy all her life too?
Yeah, as far as I knew, she was born in that house. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I'm not sure, but that's all I ever known,
That's where Grandma was
and
from.
Grandpa, on my father's side, they lived about a block away, and that was also an old house, and they have been there for years and years, and
do you know how old that house was by any chance?
Yeah, it was it was built the 1800, toward the end of 18, but I forget the date was in front of the house.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like one story, the bedrooms upstairs, and then there was the attic, like the 3-story place. Mm-hmm. The attic, and it was way up high there under the thing, in front. 1880 something or 1890 something. It might be 100 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe over 100 years old now.
Right.
Yeah. All the places there are real old, the old places. I don't remember all the time we were there. I never saw anything being built new. They refix them, Like the house we were born and that we lived in, it was redone when my mother got married because my dad had money. Mm-hmm. He came from America with money.
Right.
So they redid that place, but I mean there are different ways than it is in this country. It's hard to explain it, but it was supposed to be refixed up real good, but it needs all over again. I'm sure.
What did you guys use for transportation? Like,
over
did you
there,
walk or ride bikes or horses?
bicycles around the place,
Bicycles.
around the town. But when you go to the city, we used to have the horse and wagon.
Oh.
We go, oh, 8 or 10 blocks away, through, but this is through the fields, there's little roads, and you walk so far, and then you come to the main street of town, and that's where the thing come, the horse and wagon, they come every morning, and they take you to Luca.
Oh.
And then you come back, and the same way you get off there, and you walk the rest of the way, see again.
Like a stagecoach, you mean? Like where you sit, or was it a wagon?
We sat in the back of it, and the guy in the front that they guided the horse.
Did it have seats, or was it like a thing?
Seats. Oh no, they had seats. Two side like this on the thing. We sit facing each other.
And
the horse.
Were you facing the horse like on one side?
No,
or was
we faced each other, and the horse was going that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like this, and the horse was there.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way they were then. So then, toward the last, in the late 1920s, because we came here in 30, so it was a few years before that, they got the bus. That was a big deal. The bus would come, and you get on the bus, and they take us to Luca, which was a little faster, so we liked that better. So when we go down and wait for the thing, if the horse would come, we would hide.
So you would.
We hide behind the building, and then the guys would go around the building. It's like, come on, I know you're there. Come on, I'll take you to Luca.
And then they lost their
It was
business.
funny because they didn't like it. See, there's a change there,
Yeah.
There was a change, and they were making a living. Those poor guys. They only charged 2 lire to take you to Luca. See, and then the buses come, and they didn't like it. But I guess then we came away, so we don't know. But I'm sure later they must have kept the buses, and the horses must have just got out of the way. That's all. I think.
I'm sure they're not still doing it.
I don't think they're still having them. It's many years ago now.
When you would take the horse into town,
Yeah.
was there cars in town, or was that at that time was there hardly any cars around?
We walked.
Well, I mean, did other people have cars, or?
Hardly. I didn't see a car until toward the last before we came here, because one of my brothers went to Luca. He was learning to be mechanic, see?
Oh.
And he was working there. And then I think once or a couple of times, my mother said for him to come with the car because he wanted to take me to Viareggio, which is another, it's a, what do you call it, summer resort place. It was beautiful. And you have the beach and the ocean. It was on the ocean anyway. So the doctor said to my mother that every year they had to take me to Viareggio to cover me with the sand. I was supposed to be going there a couple of weeks every summer to be covered with the sand. And sometimes my mother would take me, and sometimes Grandma would take me. And so every morning we go to this beach, and they take me and cover me all up, and I cry because it was too hot,
Why is it? What's the sand for?
Because of the polio.
Does that really help, or was that something they just
I'm sure it helped. I'm sure it helped a lot. They were doing everything the doctors said that they should do for me to kind of improve the condition.
Right.
Yeah, because he said when it actually happened, this thing, and the doctor came and he saw me, and he said, "This girl will never walk again." So between my mother and my grandma, and I guess my dad too might have helped, massaging and everything, whatever it needed. And then I had to go to Luca to see the orthopedic to make the braces for my legs. I was wearing the braces when I was real little. But then he says to go to Viareggio. That was one of the best things that you can do for me, that they could do. And I remember they covered me up with the sand, and then I move and then change into another spot, and the sand would be, especially at noontime at 1 o'clock, I'd be so hot,
Was that the idea, to make it hot?
Yeah,
so that it would warm your
I'd
legs?
have to be hot, then I'd be covered under, and then the sun. The only thing I had the umbrella over my face, my head, but the rest I was in the sun, but I was covered with the sand.
Were you real little? I mean, were you scared?
Oh yeah, I was 5, 6, up until I was maybe 10.
And then
No. I went to school when I was 9, So until about 8, I went. They did that, you know.
What's polio? How long does that last? I mean, how long did you have polio, and then how did it go away?
Well, it never went away. I still have it.
Oh, what is it?
Polio is what the muscles of the leg, the muscles that are affected in the body, see?
Uh-huh.
And one leg came back. See, I'm thinking that they did so much for you that one leg came back and I was able to use it. That's why then later I start walking again a little at a time. But you never get rid of polio. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was just like a disease, something you get, and then
it's a disease.
But then when it goes away, you're still left with.
Well, it can improve. It can improve, but it's a rare case. If you don't get it too bad, it'll go away.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have it bad, like the doctor says, that my legs would never, that I would never walk. So he knew that it had to be pretty bad.
Uh-huh.
But with all they did for me, massaging and heat things and stuff, so they must have got me going again somehow. And but this thing was part of the
therapy.
The therapy, right? That they did, yeah. And then after I was 9, then I went to a school, a private school in Lucca. So I stayed there for 5 years.
In Lucca.
Yeah, in a convent.
Oh, okay.
It was a convent, a place that they keep you there all the time for school, and that's all the school I ever had, 5 years.
Oh, and that was how old were you when you started that?
From 9 to about 14.
What sort of things did you learn there?
The regular class, the regular school.
Yeah, never English, Italian.
And a lot of religion.
A lot of religion.
Yeah, and sewing, anything that has to do with school and learning, yeah. But only you live there too, like a private school, like you.
So they taught you stuff like sewing too. You mean handiwork stuff?
Yeah, the sewing we had there.
And then did they teach you math, like adding and subtracting
Well,
stuff?
yeah.
Like
The school would be like reading and writing and arithmetic. The regular class we have every day. I think that was in the morning, and I think the afternoon, maybe because I wasn't good in school, I don't know, but the afternoon I used to have sewing. I liked that better.
Yeah. Well, that worked out good, because when you came out here, you had something you could do.
So that's right, because that's the only thing I could do, really. Yeah. So, but that's it. Then when I got done with the 5 years of school, then I was 14, and I went back home then. And then it was a couple of years later then that we came to the United States.
When you were 14 to 16, were you working or working around the house?
Yeah. After I went home, see, there isn't much for me to do. See, they had to think of something that would be fit for me to do. So then my mother knew of a lady that was in Lucca that had a little material yardage store, a small place. And she was making a living with that, being in Lucca, and she lived there. But she was from La Marie also. She was known, pretty well. But she did this work. She stayed in Lucca for a whole week, and then she would go. And La Marie, maybe she had relatives, or she might have had a house there. I don't know where she lived. But she went like a weekend, then she went home. And then she'd go back on Monday again. That's what I did too. But my mother then went up to this lady, and she asked her if she would be interested in teaching me to do this work, learning to sell material, yardage things. And so they must have got together somehow. I knew nothing about it, but after a while then she took me to look again with this lady. I met her and everything, and she showed me about working in this little store. I remember that real well, because I was there and I was waiting on customers when they came around. She was teaching me, But then I also lived with her. She has an apartment, and I walked back and forth. Again, I was in Lucca again, see? But only for a different purpose this time. And also, it was a short time, because when we decided to come to the United States, well, then they made a deal that I wouldn't be there any longer. So then I went back home, and that's when we came there. But when I was there doing this working in this store, it was kind of interesting in a way. It taught me to do that thing, and I guess I must have been doing pretty good. He measured the material, and there was a big factory about a block away. That's what gave her the business, I think. And there was other little businesses around there that were making a living on that, because in this factory they were making cigars, and there was a lot of people working over there. And you could see them in the morning. A lot of people would come on bicycles, and they go to this place and they work, and then when you hear a horn, then it's time for them to get out. It was so funny, and it was all new to me, but I learned that, and I figured, see, they go to work and then they get out. And anyway, then you get ready, because then that's when they stop in the store and they buy some material or something. So we would be all ready, and we'd be there and waiting on these people coming in, and we get to know these customers too,
Right.
Yeah, and sell them things. In the morning, they usually didn't do too much because they were busy. We want to get to work, but then when they got out, they had a little more time. So they get out, say 4 o'clock. So we had a couple hours that we could work pretty good. But then we sold during the day too. But mostly these people was that they would do the shopping when they got out of work before they go home. See, so they bought the material there. I think that it was a pretty good setup because it was close to this big factory.
Right.
Yeah. And everything was bicycles there, I remember. I don't remember that there was cars driving around.
Do you remember?
In Lucca, this is in the city.
Were you surprised? What did you think of a car when you first saw one?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, when my brother, then the mechanic, that was learning mechanic in Lucca, then he came with the car, and oh my gosh, we thought it was the biggest thing that happened to us. This was when I was still little, maybe 8 or 9 years old, maybe, I think. And so I don't know, my mother got the idea that he should take us to Viareggio. I don't know how we must have went on the bus other times, but some years back I don't remember because I was young, you just go with the grown-ups.
Right.
And that's it. But toward the last that I remember, and he took us to Viareggio, and with the car, my gosh, it was the biggest thing, And then he didn't go back to our town. He went back to Lucca, where he got the car, the company that he worked with. I guess he had to rent it or whatever. I don't know what they did.
Were you surprised? Was there a time where you didn't even know about what a car was, and then you just found
before
that they had?
Before that, well, I knew that it was like, I might have seen it like when I was in Lucca, or once in a great while you would see a car, driving by, but it was a rare thing. That's in maybe 25, the middle of 20s, like.
You wouldn't happen to know how they got around before bicycles, because even bicycles probably weren't around when your grandma was young.
Bicycles were there as long as I remember. But
well, what about when your grandma was young?
I don't know.
You don't know what they did.
Then. Walking.
Walk.
A lot of walking. I guess.
They're in good shape.
Yeah, but I imagine bicycle must have been around long.
Long, but I wonder how long.
Longer than our age thing.
It was different bicycles though. It was the big wheels, right? The big front wheel and the small back wheel.
I never saw them over there.
Oh.
I never saw just regular bicycle there. In fact, in our house we had three, maybe 4 at one time. Yeah.
And they look like the bicycles today, somewhat, more or less.
That what?
The bicycles then look somewhat like the bicycles
just
today.
The regular wheels, the type of wheels, and if I had to go somewhere, remember Uncle Bob that came over the other day? He was the one that, he's even a little younger than I was, but he was the one that if I had to go anywhere that I couldn't walk there, he would take me. I don't remember the other guys, they were always getting on the bicycle, running away on their own, But if anybody had to take me anywhere, my mother was always depending on him. He was the nicest guy, the nicest brother, really, because there was places that I couldn't walk,
Right.
Not that he did it too much, but there was a few times that he had to take me, and he would be the one. And I would sit sideways, on the bar, because they didn't have it's the only way. They were just
Right.
boys' bicycles,
Right.
And I sit on the bar thing, and he would be the one. When we were there that day by your mom the other day, And he went over, he came to me and he said, remember when I came to see you when you were in Viareggio? And you know what the rascal did? He drove the bicycle by himself to Viareggio, and it's far. It was, I don't know how he got there. Because if I was, say, maybe 12, 13 years old, if I was at Viareggio, well, he had to be 10 years old. I don't know how he got there.
But he rode there to visit, and then.
Yeah, he came to Viareggio because he knew I was there with Grandma, mother, and he came to visit us. And I guess he drove back. He rode back by himself. And I wanted to ask him, how did you know where you were going?
Mm-hmm.
But he must have, because maybe he came other times with us. Sometimes they would take a younger kid with me too. I had to be the one that had to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the reason why we went. But sometimes maybe would take my sister with me, or they would take him, and maybe he saw how he get there, And then he came by himself with the bicycle this one time. I couldn't believe it. He was a guy that he always trying to find his way around, real thing, real curious all the time. Yeah. If he got in rooms and there would be a door around, he'd go and open and see what's in the other room. He always had to see what was going on. Yeah. He's real smart. Yeah. Yeah, but we had a real nice there, really. Like I said, it wasn't a thing that we had everything like luxury or stuff like that. But we did have good food from the farm, and we had our own wheat. And they brought the wheat to the molino, to the thing to grind it and bring it back. And we had homemade bread every week. My grandma, she was a worker. Oh my gosh.
Well, you didn't have stores or what, like grocery stores?
We had
much, or?
a couple grocery stores in the whole town, small, like family grocery store, like they lived on the place, small places. Because people didn't buy so much there, they had pretty much everything. Maybe they bought like in the line of meat or line of different things, there's sugar. But my dad used to go every Saturday, he would go to the city to look at, and he'd buy the supplies that we needed for the whole week. And if you needed a little something in between, then you had these little stores to go by. But we had our breads, we had the cookie that did everything with what we had, I'm pretty sure, when I look back, it was really, really, maybe you would say primitive, but it was really healthy food stuff, healthy living.
Now, you didn't have, obviously, TVs or radios?
Oh, no.
No radio?
We didn't have radio. We didn't have electricity.
Right.
Yeah, and when I went to Italy, we went to visit the place, and Grandpa was there. My brother was there then. He stayed there all the time. The older brother always stayed in that house. And then he came for a visit to the United States once, and he didn't like it. He wanted to go back. He went back, and he never came out. He died there, eventually. But when I went to visit there, everything did look different, than although I thought I remember everything, but it still looked different. And they had this little one string of light in the middle of the room, and with the bulb, and it was wired around that thing. I don't know where it came from, and we were laughing. I was laughing with my brother because I said, so you finally got the electricity here, huh? And we were laughing about it because it was so funny, really. But no, nobody had electricity when we were there.
What did you do for light after?
For light, candles.
Was it candles?
Candles and those oil lamps.
Now, did you guys go to bed early?
Yeah, I would say, but we sit around the table and do things. The summer, of course, they're long days and it didn't matter too much, but the winters, we had those oil things that we depended on, and we sit up and do handwork stuff, anything like that for the oil. But the guys who were running around, though, they're going places, the young fellas, they always had some places with their friends, running around. I don't remember that they stayed in the house too much.
No.
I don't know. It was just us girls that we were always around the house with Grandma and Mom. But what we did, and we would go upstairs and we would have the candle, we'd go with the candles.
And how did you keep things cold?
Cold?
ice box?
No, there was no ice box.
I mean, like ice.
No,
No
we
ice.
had no ice there.
Just.
No, there was a little thing that was off the kitchen. There was the cool place, but there wasn't anything there. Well, we cooked like it only lasted to the next
Right.
day if there was some left over, but then we had to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And milk, they milked the cow every morning, and they boiled it, and it sat there all day, and we drank it the day, and the next day they do it all over again. It wouldn't. I mean, if it went to the next day, that's as far as it go. No thing. I tell you, we lived very simple.
Yeah.
Rather simple. No, there was no thing there. But there was no electricity, so you couldn't have the Frigidaires. And I don't remember ice. There was no thing.
No ice.
Mm-mm. When they made things with the pig, they killed one pig every year in February, I think, the first part of the year. And everything that they made use of the whole thing, every bit of it, but everything was put up in such a way that it would last for several months, either with salt or I'm not sure, but the old people
They
did
would
it.
cure it
They knew
and do
cure it.
things, yeah.
That's right. And they made prosciuttos too. That's the best thing over there. Like it would be ham here, but it's better than over there. The prosciutto is really quality stuff, and they make two of those, and they last a long time. But and then they hang them like. Sometimes you see in the stores, you go in the Italian store and you see things hanging.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they did up there. Up in the attic, we used to keep stuff. Maybe because there was more air going through it, or it was cooler. I'm not sure, but that's how they did it. And then we used one, we bring it down, and we have it near the kitchen, in the kitchen somehow, hanging up. And then we slice it whenever you want some. And and sausage, they made all kinds of stuff, but somehow or other, there was no thing about they preserve it in such a way that you didn't need ice. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, when you came here, did they have ice boxes?
Yeah, then we had ice box.
And it was the kind where you get the ice.
That's the first time I knew that you have to put things in the cold, in this box thing, and so you learn to live the way they lived here then, Yeah.
Did you think that was
We got the ice. Yeah, we used to get
thing,
the
or-
ice, but we didn't have much food.
Plenty of ice with no food.
Not much food though. Yeah. Yeah, it was really rough at first, boy. Yeah.
Was there a concern as to where you're going to get food day by day?
Well, yeah,
for a time there in the
because
beginning?
because we had to try and get the most reasonable things. Like we would get bread. See, over there we made it. From 1 week it lasts to the next week, and over here, somebody told us to get this Italian bread from the Italian bakery, of course, but you get the day-old bread. And so the guy came over. They used to deliver it then, And the guy came over, and so my mother talked to him and everything, and they wanted to know how many we would need and all that. I think it was 2 cents a loaf, because it was a day old. See, those guys didn't know what to do with that bread, I guess. God knows, maybe it was a week old as far as we know. But they say it was a day old. And she used to get a whole big bag of it. And then, I don't know how often he came, maybe every few days, and he'd bring another big bag of it. And even then, 2 cents each, like if you get 10 or 15 breads, it was money for us. 30 cents,
Right.
it was,
That's a lot.
if you don't have it. But no, we had that much, let's say. We had that, and we would have vegetables. My mother makes soups and stews and just plain stuff, that we could do. But also, we, because the fact that we were American citizens, I think, that we got to know this lady that was a relief, really.
Mm-hmm.
And because my mother was a waiter, and so she came over, I think to the landlady.
Mm-hmm.
The landlady too told us to go to this lady, and talk to her and see what she could do for you. She said they might be able to help you because we had to pay the rent too. You
Right.
see, I think we paid $15 then for the flat. It was
For
a cold water flat they called them.
What's that? Cold water?
There's no hot water.
Oh.
You don't have hot water. Everything is cold water. If you need hot water, you have to heat it. You know, a pot of it, whatever. But that's what they had. And that's in Chicago too, by the way. So
Did they
see,
have? Yeah, that's
it's
the city.
different than now.
Did they have a shower in there?
No,
A
no, it's just
bathtub?
just the bowl in the hand bowl. That's
Mhm.
all. Yeah, that's what they call that cold water flat. I think
Cold water
cold water flat. I think. But so then this lady, no, she came over and she talked to us, all of us. In fact, she was the one that gave me the first job because I could do sewing. So she gave me the first job. She told me where to go, what to do, you know. And I worked there for quite a while for $9 a week. And meantime, there was a lot of people out of work because it was depression, see. And I guess they didn't like it because I come from Italy and I get the job right away.
Right.
Isn't that
So
something?
you must have been happy to have that, huh?
Jeez, I'll tell you. Yeah. And so then she got to, she came over a couple of times after that. And she didn't want us to stay in that place. She says there's going to be a flat next to where our office was, which was several blocks away from this first place that we went to. She moved us over there next to her because she says over here she was afraid the boys that they would get in trouble with the police, you know.
A bad area?
Yeah, sort of bad area. Well, we didn't know that, see. And so she took us over where she was. So she must have got to like us. She didn't want us to be, because there's two little kids and the mother without the father, see. And then, so we moved over there. We moved in this other flat, and it was on the first floor, and which was nice. And we were there quite a few years, close to her. We could even see, her building was next to us, and there was an empty lot in between, and that was all offices in the building that she was in. It was just offices. It wasn't living. They weren't living there. And they did this work for charity for people. There's a lot of people that needed help, widows especially. And because we were citizens, United States citizens, then she did it. She says if you weren't, they would have even sent us back, which it wasn't the thing. We wouldn't have been able to come here if we weren't American citizens. See, my dad took the citizenship paper. That was very smart.
That was a whole big deal then.
It was the biggest thing he did. I mean, one of the important things that he did. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because he always had in mind that he would come back to the United States. Unfortunately, he wasn't well by the time they came.
But that allowed you guys to.
He was older, you know.
That allowed you guys to. When do you think he got citizenship?
In the 1800s, when he was here, when he was...
Would that be late 1800s?
Late, yeah, it could have been late 18. He came back and he married 1905, so it had to be before that sometime. Yeah, in the late. Yeah. See, 1905, and it wasn't until 1930 that finally came to the United States, 25 years later. But then he wasn't well, and like I said, he passed away. We wished we could have come because he might have known a little bit of the language too, you see, which we didn't. We didn't know the language at all. Yeah. No, it was quite a thing, quite an experience, because people that are born here, they miss that, they don't know what it is. They come in, there's so many people that wanted to come to the United States. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet people in your town, did they want to come?
Especially in the Anarta. Well, over there too, by the way, it wasn't only coming to America. Every family would have boys, and they'd go somewhere. See, if they didn't come, if they couldn't come to the United States, I know some relatives of ours went to Argentina. They went to Australia. They have to go somewhere because there's no way that they can make a living over there. When the boys get to be
18
late
maybe.
teenagers, then they have to take off, go somewhere, and then when they work and everything, then they send money back to the family, to the parents.
The boys have to go somewhere else so they don't get drafted into the army? Is that
Well,
what
there, I don't think it was that. It was that they had to make some money to send back to the family because they had younger kids.
well, the economy was really bad?
The what?
The economy was getting bad, or I don't understand why they had to leave it.
Because there was no way to make a living there.
Oh.
Yeah, in
But
the
there must have
country.
been at some time.
Even if you went to the city one brother went to be a mechanic, but I don't know if he got paid. We don't know. I guess he got paid, but just to learn, you know, that you're happy to be able to do that because hope that someday you get a job that you can get paid.
Well, before that, people must have been making money there because they couldn't have always
They
been
live
making.
on the farms. They live on
But
you know,
things
the
changed
families
then?
with their little.
Well, I mean, like your parents. I mean, how could they stay
well,
there?
my parents. That's why my dad came to the United States.
Oh.
See, and that's how he made his money and went back and got married. A lot of them do, and once in a while there's somebody that would get a. Like I had an uncle that he was doing pretty good, and he was in the meat business. But there isn't too many, you know, not too many that can do that. And he raised a family of about a half a dozen kids, and 2 or 3 girls that came to America. Yeah, even the girls.
Now, was there a place that people considered the best place to go, like America or Australia?
Well,
or
yeah, but they
Argentina?
couldn't come to America, see?
Did they all want America first?
You had to be a citizen, or they had to have somebody in this country to call for them.
Mm-hmm.
And not all have, you know. We didn't have, we had a cousin here that we came, that he helped us a little bit in the beginning, you know. But, see, he had brothers over there, and they went to Australia. I don't know how he got to come to this country. I never found out.
If they had the choice of coming here or Australia, would they always pick
they
here?
would come here. Yeah, they would come here. But if they couldn't come, then they find other places.
Right.
Yeah. If they got up in years like later teenagers, they have to go because so they work, find work, and then send some money back to the family to raise the rest of the family, to help. They do it for a while, and then of course they marry. Well, then they can't send the money anymore, you know. But then they do the best they can, I guess. But I don't remember anybody going to Mexico though. See, there is no work there either. So we knew over there. They knew the people where they want to go, where they could send the kids to. Yeah. As far as I can remember, I know. I guess there was a lot more to it that I don't know. But as I look back, I know quite a few that went to Australia, or not a few, but some. They went to Australia. They went to Argentina. I don't remember where else. Oh, they went to France sometime.
Other places?
Women went to France, and they did not exactly housekeeping, but maybe they did that too. But they did taking care of children, babies. You know, we used to call them bambinaya. Over there, they call them. I can't remember. But they would go over there and they work for these rich people that the wives didn't want to take care of the family, you know.
Right.
Or maybe they're involved in working too, but they got the jobs of taking care of the house and the kids. Yeah, they raised the family.
Like
what
a
do
nanny.
they call them?
Nanny.
Nanny. In England, they did that. They said
Yeah.
that, yeah. But they went to France more than they went to England.
Oh.
I don't remember anybody that went to England, but it's possible. Maybe I don't know, you know. But to France they did, because in France they used to think in Italy we're poor, but in France they're rich. See, that's how we looked at it. Yeah, but I'm sure they had the poor people there
Right.
too. But the rich is the ones they wanted somebody to do the work. See, and the people came from Italy. They could trust them that they were real, you know, they could take care of the family.
Right. Now then, when you were here, the war started sometime while you were here.
30, about the 40s, 39 or 40.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, Was that a concern for you because Italy was involved in that, and were you scared for
Well, it
people
was,
that you knew
but
there?
it wasn't that, I don't know. There's only one brother there, but he was too old to go in the service. But I understand that he was concerned in a way. I don't know what he did. There was something that they did. They were living in the barn or something. They couldn't have did that because they would have found him. I think he was too old to go in the service. I'm pretty sure. And then he had married since. After we left there, he married and he had two boys. There's two boys that one you met. They came out here. They're in Chicago now.
Oh yeah.
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 That one guy that. What did we come down there to see you? Was that it? We came to Santa Barbara.
You came to see us, and we made
I
a
think
hero.
so. Dino.
Dino.
Yeah,
Right.
we went out to lunch.
Right.
He's
so
one of them.
he's one of the sons of the
He was
boy
born
who
in
stayed
Italy, see?
Was that the oldest?
Huh?
Was that
No,
the-
he's the youngest of the two. The other one has a business in Chicago.
The oldest brother.
The brother, the oldest brother that got married there.
And that was his son.
Yeah, and then he got married over there, the wife, and he had these two boys.
Mm-hmm.
But then, when one brother from here went to Italy, he talked her into coming to Chicago, to America, see? And she was, she just do anything to go to America.
Yeah.
And so when he came back to the United States, they called her. See, they made some kind of a thing that they have to do to assure that they would have a job for her, and they would be responsible. That's it.
Right.
For Lida, that was the mother, see, that was the wife. And she came to this country, she made money like Kenny. She's a hard worker. She's still in Chicago. She didn't want to go back to Italy. And then my brother stayed in Italy and she stayed in Chicago. And then the kids came with her. So that's it. That's the way they lived. And he was in Italy all these years. Like when I went, the first trip I took to Italy, he was there by himself and the wife was in Chicago. And he didn't want to go to America. He never wanted to go to America. Because he had the house there all to
He was
himself.
all set
see?
up and happy.
He was set up. I don't know. But she's still in Chicago, and then he died. Well, anyway, she goes to Italy, I think, every year. And she went when he was there, and she would have had him come to this country. But he came one year, and he didn't like it. I don't know how long he stayed. He couldn't wait until he went back to Italy, and they stayed there. That's it. That was the end of the United States for him. Yeah. But she didn't want to go to Italy either, except for a trip. She's been going for a trip. She went last year even. I don't know, she might go this year again. I don't know. But maybe not, because she's getting up in years. My sister Annette says that she's getting tired making those trips. And she still doesn't know English, but she knows how to go there because she takes one plane, she gets off in Italy, and she can do it. But if she had a transfer, she won't be able to do it. The sons, they explained it to me that she couldn't do it.
Now, do you talk to Nat every now? I mean,
Yeah, I talk to her once in a while.
you guys always talk Italian, huh?
Yeah, we can talk Italian with my brother. If I go to Chicago, we can talk Italian. But usually we talk English. I haven't
But
talked.
Nat, you have to talk Italian too.
Mhm.
You have to talk Italian to Nat, right?
And Nat can talk Italian.
That's the only. You can't talk English with her, right?
Yeah, Ada is the one that does. The youngest sister, she doesn't talk Italian, and the youngest brother too, because he was 4 when he came here, and she was 6. She forgot the language altogether.
Really?
But Nat can remember. She can talk Italian.
Oh, I
She-
thought isn't there one that doesn't speak? Who doesn't speak any English?
The old ones, they don't speak English.
What's their name? A lot of them. There's a
My
lot.
sister, no. Oh, the sister-in-law, my brother's wife. She's the one that came here when she was old, see? And then she never learned because she never had any school in Italy either. And she never learned the language, and she still doesn't talk, I understand it. But the son, she lives with the son, and they help her, like, anything that they do. And she's in the neighborhood there, she's used to that area now.
So who's this the one that was 6? is that Nat that was 6 years old when she came here?
No, that's Ada, the one that is in Florida now. I don't think you.
Oh, I don't think I remember.
Yeah, you know when you met her. You remember when you went to visit your dad's relative
Right.
with you and Michelle were in the wedding thing
Mhm.
when you were little.
Mhm.
And then one day after they went to that wedding thing, one day your dad and your mom drove you to one of my relatives.
Mhm.
And if you remember, I don't know,
I
but
vaguely
a
remember
house
a white
that
house
was
that was
this,
there.
the youngest sister. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, she had a house.
Yeah, I remember that house.
Okay,
a
well
little bit.
that's my
We ate there.
youngest sister, and she's the one that she was 6, and she may understand Italian if you talk to her. She'll go, yeah, yeah. One day I was in Chicago and I'm talking to her in Italian, and she says, yeah, yeah. And all of a sudden I looked at her. I says, I thought you didn't understand Italian. She said, well, I can understand a little bit. She says, I forgot that she didn't understand because I was talking to Nat, see, and we were talking Italian. But she gets thin because she says, no, I can talk. She can't talk. She can't talk, but she'll get a few words because she had understand my mother, even though she was little.
Because I was going to say, up until 6, she only spoke Italian, and then after
Yeah, but
6,
I think she could have.
spoke a lot of.
She could have remembered if she kept it up. But since we didn't talk Italian, then she forgot it. See, and the 4-year-old, he didn't remember it all. He don't even remember where he came from. He don't remember. He remember being on a big boat.
Yeah.
There was a lot of water around, he says, but I don't know. When he was over there, he don't remember the place over there at all. No.
4.
But he's dead now, he's the youngest brother. Yeah, but the others all remember, we all know the language, the Italian language. Yeah.
Well, does Dino know it? He doesn't know Italian, does he? Or does he?
Dino?
Yeah, he does,
Yeah.
because he lived there, huh?
Yeah, he knows Italian, and he had a hard time to learn the language, but the last time I talked to him, where was it? Yeah, he came here. He came here.
Did you talk Italian?
He could talk English real good, because he married that lady that was, didn't know the Italian,
Right.
And I said, boy, you learned English real good. And he says, yeah, oh yeah. She says, I had to. But then, like, later he married this girl, but now they're divorced.
The one that was here? They divorced?
Yeah. She wasn't for him.
I didn't see
No.
him.
No.
Did he speak Italian with you at all when you guys were here?
Yeah, with him you could talk Italian. Yeah. But then, if he spoke English, I really, talk English. Yeah.
Is it hard for you to talk Italian, or is it hard to talk English? Or the
In a way, because since I've been in California, there was hardly anybody that I could talk to in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
I hardly ever talked Italian. I didn't have much chance, but I remember, I know I can talk, when I go to Chicago, we can talk Italian. But you kind of lean toward, and then you go into the English, see. I wish that I had somebody that we talked Italian. Although you meet Italian people here, but sometimes they don't talk the same as you do, or what's it? They're from other parts of Italy there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's rare. I knew a lady down in St. Gabriel for years, since your mom was real little. In fact, she's the one that helped me a lot when your mom was born. We lived in her place. We rented from her, and she was the nicest woman. And she was from Italy, but she was from some other different area, and I think they talked Italian, but I didn't talk Italian to them. Rarely, she talked English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
But in Chicago, I would have had a lot of people talking Italian, relatives or friends. They still hang around with a lot of Italian people. My sister and Nat ride sometimes. Just the other day, that they go to a couple times a year. They belong to an Italian club that have dinners. When they meet, they have a real big celebration dinner thing. I don't know what else they do. Oh, they have the dance and the things after, you know. It's just the idea of getting together, a bunch of them. And they have a lot of fun when they do most of it. A lot of it, their relatives get together. Like when she goes to that thing, my other brothers go there, you know, and cousins and their families and all kinds of, they get together like that. They have fun. But they can talk Italian if you want to, because they're all Italians. And they still hang around together. They have a lot of people in Chicago that they know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when did you come to California? What year was that, you know?
In California, we came in 1939, about 40, like the end of 39, 40. And I've been here, other than taking a few trips back there, and we stayed here.
And you moved, when you came out here, where did you go to, L.A.?
Starting out was LA, and Grandpa didn't like it. And then we went to San Diego. He says, let's try a smaller place. You know, he thought he was going to come to Los Angeles, that there was just a few houses, you know, it was a small place. And when he came here, he was shocked. You know, it's a big place, although it wasn't at all what it is today, but still, it was big. And so he says, let's try San Diego. So we put, everything we had was in the cars.
Yeah.
So we load the car. We were in Los Angeles a short time, a matter of a few weeks. And so he says, before we settled down, that we try some other place. So we went to San Diego, like I said. We were there 2 or 3 months, and he couldn't find any work at all. That was really bad again. And so we came back to Los Angeles, so he figured he would get the job in Los Angeles, then we'll stay in Los Angeles. So we were in Los Angeles a year or two, a couple of years. Well, he decided he's going to go to San Francisco. So we moved up to San Francisco, and we were up there maybe 6 months. Then he decided to come back to Los Angeles again. See, he was always trying to try the next place, you know, see if the other place is better.
Mm-hmm.
He always thought the next
Grass
place
is
would be
greener on the other
better.
side.
Yeah, it's always greener on the other side. Anyway, so, and he were up there 6 months. He did find a job up there, but then if he gets tired, he'd say, you know, I'm going to lose my job. They don't have any more work. I said, I don't know about that, you know, because I liked it up there.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice. I really liked it. And I said, oh, I don't want to go back to Los Angeles, you know, maybe we should, maybe this and maybe that. But when he made up his mind, he always wanted his ways.
Mm-hmm.
So finally we made the move again, and we were back in Los Angeles. And he had to find another job in Los Angeles, and it was hard for him to find jobs. And but I would have liked to stay in San Francisco. I liked it up there. So finally, if I get a job for the war thing, for the, what is it, war effort of things,
Right.
but in the camera thing too, by the way,
Uh-huh.
projector. I know what the people that needed things fixed, you know,
Mhm.
in the photography, the government thing. It wasn't a private thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he worked there. That was the best job. That's after a while we were down here again, and he worked there for a while, and it was the best job. Turned out to be one that was paid the best, but I don't know. Maybe he was paid $25 a week, which he never made that much, you know.
Right.
25 or 30 maybe. It was quite a bit then. And I was expecting from with the baby, see.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when she was born, he was still there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after maybe a year or so after that closed. He was going to close. He knew that. And he was telling me, I thought, oh my God, we're going to be out of work again, you know. And but he knew that when the war ended, then we would be, that thing would close.
Right.
So that's when he decided that we should start working on opening our own business. And so I was like, yes, we'll do that. And the baby was before she was a year old,
Mm-hmm.
because she was still in the buggy. I
Mhm.
remember that. And so we would start working on that thing. Well, he was still working, but he knew it was going to be a matter of a short time. So we started working on the business. And he was always talking about making these bellows, and I didn't know anything about it, what it was all about. But I learned, and we had to start real primitive, you know. I stay home and I cut strips of paper, starting out with, and then he had to figure out where to get the material, and figure out the thing, how to make the forms. I don't know, you must have remember when you were real little when you came over by where we had the shop in San
I
Gabriel
remember
there.
being in the
You
shop.
remember all
Oh,
those
yeah.
cardboard things standing all over?
I remember how the whole shop was. Yeah,
Yeah?
the tables you had,
Yeah,
the
but
stools
that was
and
many years later, see?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how he was born, from the kitchen table. He was born when he was still working, and I stayed home, take care of the baby, and then when I put her sleeping in the buggy outside the door, I would sit at the table and working on this stuff, you know, figure out, and he was telling me what to do when he come home. The next day I do the same thing. And I remember once going to Grandma, that's your mom's grandma. She lived in El Monte, and we'd take a ride over there on Sunday. We would visit with them, you know. So we pull up, and I'd be there with the scissors, and I'm cutting this paper, you know, because it took so much time, and I had cut a bit doing it like that. But he says after a while we get a cutter, see, but we had to have the money, we had to know what kind to get and everything. In fact, the first cutter is still in the garage here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the first cutter. Yeah, it was the small one. He says, we get a small one, we do it like that, and then I get a bigger one after a while. And then finally we were making them, we were making the ribs by dye. There's company in Los Angeles that makes that. He finds out all this stuff. And I didn't know anything about it, but he would dig out a lot of the information. And so then after a while, we would make the pattern, and then he would take it to this dye maker, and they would make it with the dye. We would make 1,000 of them, you know, 500 or 1,000, big packages in different sizes. Then it was easier then. You see, then it started getting a little bit easier. But I remember putting one day, going back to Grandma, and Joy was, I guess, in the back or something. She was maybe a year old by then. And in fact, she'll be in one of the movies. If they make them, she's in the movie there by Grandma in El Monte there. You know, we took movies over there, probably in black and white then. And so he was pulling up in the driveway, and she was out there standing there waiting, seeing us coming in. And she looked at me, and, you know, I'm cutting with the scissors, this paper. And he said, what are you doing, cutting paper dolls? I says, yes, that's right. I says, yeah, I'm a little girl cutting paper dolls. They didn't know that we were starting the business. I didn't care, you know. So I was cutting this paper, this stuff that I had to do. And so we laughed about it. And so I kept doing it, like I said. And then when the job finished then, finally, then we went more at it, you know. We did more, and then we started buying materials and buying cardboard to make the forms, and we did. And the place that we were living in was so little, it was unbelievable, you know. Yeah, it was unbelievable. But then after a while, we got a shop. We got a place that we would go to.
How little was the place you were living in?
Oh, the small living room, a little bit of a kitchen, and the bedroom next to it. It was real little too, in the bath. That's all. Yeah.
So a small one bedroom.
But real small places. And this was owned by the lady that I said she was Italian, and she did us a favor because she didn't want children in that place. In those days, it was hard to find places when I had the baby. And I knew her, we knew her, so she said that she would give us the first place that she'd have vacant, that she would let us have it, because we got to be real friends, you know, real good friends. And so she did. And the reason she did it, because she had a brother, an older brother, that he rented, he was single, he never got married. He rented the one next to us. So if the baby cries, she says, don't worry about it, you know, he don't care. But if there was other people there, she couldn't rent the place to us. See? So she really did us a favor to get us there. And I was happy to go there because the rent was real. about $18 a month.
That's pretty
I
good.
was glad. And they cleaned it for us before I went there. You know, they painted real fast. Her and her sister used to do that. My gosh, before we got there, so they did it. Yeah. We had the Frigidaire, a little bitty Frigidaire under the sink, you know, a thing there built in. And that was my first Frigidaire. Mm-hmm.
Electric, you mean?
Yeah, electric. Yeah. Yeah. But we started that, then, like I said, the business, then we got a shop, we rented a place, and then it just kept growing and growing, you know. It kept going. And well, at first it wasn't too bad, you know, at first it was, well, we had to have time to get going too, you know.
Right.
But then we started getting orders. Then we were wondering if we were able to do them, see, too. So we had to take it easy because we can only do so many. You have to do each one by hand. We sat there for hours and hours, you know, doing that stuff. Sometimes at midnight at night, I would make them. We would make them during the day, as I can always fold them after the baby's sleeping, you know. And so sometimes 10, 12 o'clock at night, I'd be folding this stuff, these things. And no, it wasn't easy, but we did it. And that was the best thing. That's the thing that saved us. And your mother could never stand that business. Oh, she couldn't stand it. I said, what do you want me to do, you know? She said, well, you could have a better job, or you could have. See, she didn't understand. She was little, you know. She didn't understand. Yeah. Sometimes she said that we didn't have enough to eat, or we really didn't eat the way we should have. I says, geez, when you were around, I said, we had already improved a lot.
Yeah.
So don't complain.
Yeah.
That's why we worked hard on the business, so that we, you know, be able to pay the rent and be able to do things. My gosh. Yeah. Hey, is that thing still going?
Yeah. It go for a long time.
My goodness. You should sit here now, Gary. Come on, sit here. No.
We can pause and break if you want.
They what?
We can pause it or break, or if you want to stop or whatever.
Oh, I see. And then what, you mean the film goes on that long?
It goes on forever.
Oh.
Did they have videos like that when you were around?
Oh, no.
They wouldn't even know when to do it because they didn't have a TV.
I should tell you when we got the first camera, my gosh. I had a $2 camera before, a box camera they called them. I wish I had it because it would be antique now, but see, it don't work anymore and you throw it away. But I had it before I was married, and that's the only camera we had when we got married. See, and we took pictures coming from Chicago, the trip out here. But then when the baby was born, we wanted a better camera then. So he found a camera he saw a camera, he knew about cameras, see, a bit more than I didn't know anything about it. And he saw this camera, he said, that's a real good camera, it's German made, and they want $50. Oh God, it was like saying $1,000 in those days, you know. And we didn't have the money. I says, well, I just have to forget it, as later on we'll get one. He says, yeah, but I like to take pictures like while the baby is little, but this was a still camera though, you know. It wasn't a movie. So he said, do you think I could go to Rita and ask her if she would let us have $50? I said, oh no, you're not. No, I says, I don't want to get involved with that, you know, I didn't want them to. I never want to ask money for anybody, especially people. It was the landlady, and I knew her real well already, they knew us, but still, I didn't feel like it. And he said, well, I think we can. He says, because when I get paid next week, says, we'll give her the $50 right away. That's when he was working at the better job, you know. I was afraid, I didn't want him to, but he did. He went out there and he asked her, you know, he says, Rita, I will really give you the things next Saturday when I come, because this is in the paper and it might sell before, you know, if I let it go too long. And he wanted to call the guy up. I said, geez, I don't want to ask her, but he went and he asked her and he gave her the $50. I couldn't get over it. You know? How could you do that, you know? And so he went out and got this camera, German camera. And then we took these pictures. We were taking pictures. But anyhow, when he got paid the next week, we got $50 between what he had, the few dollars that he had, and then what he got paid for. Just think, we had to use that. So I took the $50 and I brought it to her. I used to go back and forth to the back door. She used to come by me every day. And the back door was always open. So she just walks in, see. And so I walked by her and I gave her, I said, Rita, please. I said, don't give him any more money. I didn't want him to come over, but I said, don't give him any more money. I don't want him to get in the habit of asking for money, which they never did it again. That was the only time. And I said, because he saw this camera and he got it, so he did us a big favor. And he said, oh, that's all right, that's all right. She was real nice, That was fine. And so he bought the camera and we started taking pictures, and I still have the little picture. I mean, there's so many there. Pictures, that little ones that I knew that they were taken with that camera when she first started. And then later he got a projector that he put the camera on the thing, and whenever she run around, he'd follow with the thing, and he would take her whatever she's doing, taking natural cameras like that, pictures.
Right.
But then after he got the moving, but I can't remember when he got that. I can't remember how he got it. It had to be a used one too, no doubt. Because you got it cheaper that way. We had that. We should still have that camera, but I'm not sure where it is. But anyway, we had all the films in that box, and I give it to your mom. So there's quite a bit of her in there. And then there's two separate ones. Oh, I know. I made a big roll. He showed me how to splice them, because there were only 50 things, little ones, 50 feet each, the films. So when you have so many, then you splice them together and you make a big one. And that's what I did. He showed me how to do it. And I did it in the bathroom down in St. Gabriel or Alhambra somewhere. And I learned to do it. So I did that one film, and we used to run that. See, from the first year from the first that we took her pictures till she grew older and everything. So there was quite a bit in a big film, in a big can thing that this film is in. Then there was two. I told her the other day. There's one when she had a wedding. She went to a wedding, and she was in the wedding. So there was one film there. And then there was another one when she was in high school. I took her and 3 or 4 other girls to a miniature golf course thing. And I took that there. And she was happy that she had that because we ran it quite a few times. And the other girls liked to see it too, So every time they came over, they wanted to see that film. So it's in that box. And I told her, those two, I put a rubber band around, you can do those, So they would be nice. And they were in color. But at first, when we took them, they were only in black and white. And I don't know why, because they were cheaper, see, because maybe we couldn't afford the color, or whether they didn't have enough color at the time. I'm not sure what. But at first, we had them all in black and white, and after a while, we got them in color. So there's all kinds in there. And some of them, I noticed there is Hawaii. I said, Joy, don't make the Hawaii, because I don't even remember taking them over there. I don't know how we took the moving camera. He must have did it. He must have brought it there. Maybe he wanted to take when they danced, the girls, with what we did and all that. But I can't remember that at all. I would like to run it on my old projector to see what they are. And I don't want to spend money to enlarge them, because I think it costs quite a bit. So I have to send her some money to have those things done. But then you'll keep them down there, because I have no use here. You can't run them on this, can you? The film, where after they're made up.
Yeah, you can't. You need a VCR.
She's gonna make them in the
or a camera.
You
like
run
this.
them in the CVR, right?
Right. Or if you have a camera, you can use the camera, hook it up to the TV. See, this is the same thing as a VCR, only it's also a camera.
Oh.
See, it can play the tapes like a VCR, but you need something like that.
I see. We had the screen. I still have the screen, that you roll it up so that you can run.
Yeah, Mommy was watching this the other day.
She had it too, didn't she?
Yeah, she had a screen up to watch those movies to decide which ones to put
That's
on
it.
the tape.
Yeah, but see, your projector must have still be working all right.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's it. But this one, there's a place here that I want to go to. I called them, and I don't know that there's too much hopes for it, but I still want to go there. I have the address, and I want to go there and bring the projector and see if he can look at it. And maybe there's nothing wrong, but I forgot how to run it. See? So it's possible that if I tried it right, I might be able to do it, but I don't know. Your dad looked at it and he says he thought that there was something wrong with it, but he's not familiar with it either. This is real old. We bought it old, so it has to be over 50 years old, and it was old already then. So, and unless I went to Santa Maria or San Luis Obispo, and I don't know of any places there I could try, you know. I don't know. I would like to see them before I can say, well, this is worth it or this isn't,
Right.
you know. So,
Well, we can make our tape stop.
yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah,
say-
please.
we
We
say-
should do it before.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye,
everybody.
goodbye.
Goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
That's it.
Say, is there anything else you want to say in Italian?
Ciao, ciao,
Ciao.
ciao.
There you go.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, go toward the plant if you want to move around a little bit. Yeah, that's it.
See?
Uh-huh.
You're taking movies.
Yes.
Just like they do
Oh,
on
I'm cutting
TV.
your hair. I don't know if I'm... Can you tell that I'm taking it?
Yeah, the red light's on.
Oh, okay. Because I wasn't sure that if the thing is moving.
It looks like you're down a little bit.
Yeah, that's it.
There
That's
you go.
better. Okay, let's try it now again, okay? Is it?
There you go.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it.
This is Gary getting taped by Grandma.
That's Gary there.
The movie camera whiz.
And now does it get the talking too?
Oh yeah, it gets
Oh my
in both of
gosh.
us.
Yeah, well, tell me a story. I can't push this darn thing.
There you go. Now you let go. And
Okay.
It's on, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Very
good. Sure. You can jump if you want to. That's it. So this keeps going now.
Yeah, now it'll go forever.
Uh-huh. That's good.
You like that?
You go over that way and I'll follow you.
See, now it might go out of focus for a second in front of here. I don't know.
Yeah, it's